Hello and welcome to Arsenal Above All. Thankfully, no communication problems this time, thankfully, after yesterday. But thank you, everyone, for joining us for this big Carabao Cup final preview. It's a big one. It's a season-defining one, I believe. And for this preview, obviously, I had to bring in some of the big guns. We've got some big guns here tonight. We've got some big guns in the chat already as well. Let's start it off with the Arsenal Reverend Nick. How you doing, mate?
Very well, thank you. Excited for the weekend. I think this is possibly my first cup final with my son, where he's really, really into football. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's like, yeah, come on, let's get on to it. So ready, can't wait.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Having a little bit of a final sort of party with the kids as well. Got all little party food going and everything, and they'll be able to stay up and watch it because it's an early enough kickoff. So thank you for that, and thanks for joining me tonight. I've also got the Arsenal Rizza or the Rizza. I call him James Johnson. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good to be here. Thank you very much. Pleasure of all the people that you could have invited to invite me. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on. And of course, last but not least, we've got the most dangerous Arsenal fan alive, the Arsenal Jason Bourne, the Arsenal John Wick. Neil Shaw, how you doing, mate?
I can't answer. I can't talk after that intro. Thank you so much for having me, James, Nick. Pleasure as always to see you two. And let's talk about a cup final, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Neil, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all of you gents as well. And thanks to everybody in the chat as well. We'll start off with yourself, Nick, to back the boys on Sunday. There's no bottom for either team. There will be one team that loses and one that wins. Let's manifest a victory, support the team. Absolutely. Brenny's in the chat. Thank you, Brenny. Appreciate you coming on and spending your evening with us, obviously with all the football that's going on as well. And a nice one. Thank you for that, Neil. And hope everyone does enjoy the stream and what we've got to come as well. So let's get into it. I'll start with you, Neil. Obviously, this is we played City in the Community Shield, didn't we? In 2023, was it? We beat them on penalties, and we thought, okay, great, that's it. It's going to be the turning point. Maybe, obviously, you know how things have transpired. So we put up a little bit of a rivalry between us and them, obviously, as we know. And obviously the old the master against the apprentice. Some people could maybe say over the last couple of seasons when we've finished second, you're probably looking at in movie analogies, and we love those. So you're probably looking at Empire Strikes Back, or when we got caught the second time, and now we've got a chance to get it over the line. You're probably looking at Return of the Jedi settings, So there's Arteta on the touchline, all in black as well, just like Luke Skywalker was in that final film. So, what's your thoughts on just what this means for Arteta and Guardiola to a certain extent? A lot of talk about this maybe the last season for him. It may go in the summer, and obviously with the legacy and everything that he's built under City. But is this a chance for Arteta to really build his legacy and define his legacy by beating the guy that is the guy? I think James, you've said it many times, he needs to get one over on him when he's still around and land something whilst he's still in the building, let's say. Do you think that's a massive motivation for Arteta on Sunday?
I'll start with Pep because I'd like to talk about him the least. I think can you hear me? You can hear me, but firstly,
yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, everyone seemed to freeze for a second. I got worried. Right, so Pep Guardiola, obviously he's got his track record, his history, he's done it. He's won it all. He equaled Man United's treble, done all of those things, won 4 leagues on the trot, which was unprecedented, not only the Prem, but also the First Division. So he's done it, worn the T-shirt, etc., etc. But I think he's the kind of man that will still want to go out. If it is to be his last season there, he'll want to go out with a bang. However, I have to say, firstly, in the comparison between the two, I feel that he seems to be more rattled. When Arteta speaks, despite all the knocks that we've had in the last 5 years, Arteta came along in his first season, managed to seal the FA Cup, are 14th and still at the top of the charts. Hopefully, we'll go to 15 this season at the end of the season.
Mhm.
And then after that, he hasn't really been able to accomplish anything in terms of silverware. But every time you hear him speak, he doesn't seem to be so rattled as I believe Guardiola has become, especially over the last season and a half. Wasn't it last season where we saw he had been scratching his own head and all sorts of stuff? And, he's the one that chucked a bottle and at something and nothing ever happened. But obviously when Wenger did it was a big outcry. All of this stuff. I feel that he's rattled. But even when he speaks, sometimes I just feel he's just coming out gibberish. He's not coherent. He's kind of mumbling and waffling. Whereas Arteta is very eloquent. He's to the point. He gives off this persona that, yeah, things are tough, but look, we're dealing with it. And he just kind of cracks on. And then obviously recently, I don't know what Arteta had said or if he had said anything, but Guardiola had come back with that comment, and he showed me your trophies, which I actually was quite disgusted with, especially since Arteta, I think, considers him like he looks up to Wenger. I think he also looks up to Pep. He considers him a very good friend, a mentor, a confidant maybe. I don't know. I can't speak about their personal interactions, but someone that he certainly looks up to. And then for Pep to say that about him, especially when the rumours were when he was his number one, he was the mastermind behind a lot of Pep's success tactically on the field as well. And I just feel, well, that's a bit of a kick in the teeth, mate. And since I have lost respect for Pep, to be fair, since then. But having said all of that, can I just say one thing before I just quickly talk about Arteta? And I promise I won't be long.
No,
I
that's right.
believe if we had already won a couple of trophies, say one of them being the Prem, we'd already got that under our belt. I think we would. I think going into the game on the weekend, I believe we would be favourites, clear favourites. But because we haven't won anything, and I think because this is such a pivotal game, not for anyone else, but for us, for the players, the manager, the coaching staff, in the sense that by winning it, I know Nick said something, made a really good point about this. We spoke about this briefly before, but winning it to give them that impetus and momentum, that belief that, right, we've done it. We've done Man City in a final. I know we've beaten them in a couple of FA Cup semi-finals recently, but now we've done it in a final and we can really push on now with the rest of the trophies, the remaining three. I know, Nick, you're quite right. Also, by losing, conversely, potentially that might fire them up as well. But I think what I'm trying to say is, I think if we'd already bagged a couple of the big trophies, I think it would be more in our favour because of the way we've been playing recently and the way the City have been playing. Because of the situation we are in, and there is that little bit of pressure on top, I think it's a 50-50 game. I mean, obviously, I'm going to predict a win for us. But in reality, I think it is a 50-50 game. And it's about how we deal with either scenario at the end of the whistle. Whether we win and how we go on.
Absolutely.
So that is what it's all about. Now, just coming to Arteta, as I said, I think he's look. I've had my love and hate relationship with him. There's been times where I think, what are you doing? Why are you your player management, your game management, and some of the decisions you've been making is absolutely ridiculous. But to be fair to him, I will play devil's advocate today, and I will say, not devil's advocate. No, I'll give him credit where credit's due. He has turned the club around in the sense that he's united the fan base on the whole. There are still those idiots out there, which I don't even want to talk about. But generally, he's united the fan base. He's made us into potential not only Premiership winners for the last 3 seasons, but also now in the last 2 seasons, especially Champions League winners as well. We don't struggle anymore against the big guns. We give them. I think our record overall against all of them is probably better than the other way around now, more in recent times. Whereas before we used to get smashed 6-0, 5-0, 5-1, 6-1, 8-2, all of those nonsense results, which we don't do anymore. And I think he's got a squad now that is his squad, which can also not, on the whole, not be bullied off the park like we used to. See, Wenger, and for me, he's still the greatest manager of all time, but Wenger, he's tried to create a team, a Barcelona-esque team, and it just doesn't work in the Prem. It was too technical, too much skill, raw skill, too technical, but there wasn't enough brute strength and force. What Arteta has done, he's almost merged that with what George Graham used to do, and he's got a kind of a balance now where we've got the brute strength, where we've got the big guys and the big strong lads to also complement the very, very skillful and technical players. And I think credit has to go to him that he's done this. We've got to this position. And I don't believe, in my memory of watching Arsenal, which is 50 years this year, I don't remember a time where we, at the 18th of March today, where we've been in a better position. 9 points in the league. We are in the quarterfinals, almost in the quarterfinals of the Champions. No, we are in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. It's done. Yeah. We are next round of the FA Cup, and we're in the final of the League Cup. I don't remember, because we used to be in a very good position in February, but we would then it would just capitulate. Every February would be in 3 competitions or 4, and it would lose one, and that's it, gone. Everything's gone. This is the first. I don't recall us being in a stronger position. So credit has to go to Arteta, and for those reasons, although I think 50-50 Sunday, I still believe we're going to win it, and I still believe we're going to go on to win the quad.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there, mate. I just hope you can let yourself get away with it a little bit sometimes, but no, I totally agree with what he's done. You know, I'm not going to lie. You know, we've been on Purely Arsenal podcast, and there were times when I said, "No, this guy's not it. He's not the one." You know, I think that was when we were getting turned over by. We got turned over by Villa 1-0. We got beat by, I think, Everton 1-0. We got beat by Leicester. You know, during the COVID season, I think it was, or just after it, and it was like, "Oh, this is horrible," and just didn't see it working. And you look at where we are now, and I think you're right. I don't think we've ever been in this position historically as a club to be in all 4 competitions at this stage of the season. You know, you're probably some stato that can find that information out. But I in all my time supporting Arsenal, I don't remember us being in this position before. And it's amazing times, and obviously we'll touch on that a little bit later. But what about yourself, James? In terms of the you know, you touched on it before about the importance of him getting a blow in before he you know, Pep exits. And obviously, I think if he does do that on Sunday, if he does get a blow in, I think that will pretty much push him in that direction, and I think he'll keep going in that direction. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Look, you're facing a man that is currently coming to an end of a dynasty. Now, whether that dynasty was built on foundations that we all agree with, much like Chelsea's one that has now been, you know, they have told us that they are an elite level club. They are not. They are an elite club at cheating. That's been confirmed. They have cheated. So, you know, people want to talk about asterisks next to titles.
Absolutely.
With this club, there's only a few clubs that are going to have asterisks next to them, and that should be them, because it's become out now that the players that they built their squad with was all done on a foundation of cheating. It wasn't like us, where we've built a foundation and a club through the correct means. And I know I can't abide them, but the Scousers have done it the right way as well.
Spot on.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, you know, I don't like to give the Scousers credit for anything, but at least they can, you know, they can hold their hands up and go, "Hey, we built ours on a foundation of transparency and being true as well." So yeah, you can't knock them for that. But yeah, back to the original question. Look, for me, he's little broed him always. He initially has started to praise him, but now that he sees him as a threat, that sort of complimentary style that he used to have towards him has now diminished and gone. Arteta keeps it respectful, and they're not like nasty digs, but they are what I would, like I've just said, they're little you know, ruffling the hair sort of, mate, you'll never be as good as me. All right, and that's why. Look, ideally, I want to win this for all of us as fans, because I feel that we deserve a bit of happiness once in a while. Second to that, I want this group to win something together as a group, because they haven't. But thirdly, I really want him to win, because like I've been saying to you, Mike, I want him to land a punch on his nose before he leaves. And I think that's massive. You know, many moons ago, when we first got the PlayStation in the house, we had a game called F1 97. And my brother used to absolutely dominate me on the F1 97. And then one day we played on Monza against each other in the Monza Grand Prix track. And I figured out you could drive across the grass with no consequences. And I went across the grass and I beat him. And that day, the house changed. The dynamic of the house changed from me winning that Grand Prix on F1 97. So that I'm not saying cheat at the weekend, but if there's a way that we can exploit something to that extent, then by all means go and do it. Because by hook or by crook, we got to win on Sunday. And I'm with Neil. I think we're going to do it as well.
Yeah.
And before a ball was kicked this season, we on my preview pod on my channel, we go through everything and we go, who's winning what? And I said Arsenal Carabao this year because of the squad depth. I went looking at that squad. We're going, because I'm like, it's not like in the old days when it was littered with kids and a few experience. We've pretty much got a beat. You know, that second string that we've got could probably rival some of these that are in the top 4 race at the moment because they're bobbins.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But I love that story with your brother, mate. That's quality. But what do you think, Nick? You go along with pretty much what we're thinking, that it's like it's all kind of it's interesting. Obviously, the only time we've met them in a kind of one-off sort of situation has been in the Community Shield, and obviously now there's a chance, obviously, for something substantial. You know, a proper sort of a nice little dagger, you could say. You know, in a one-off situation. You know, we haven't been obviously done well in the FA Cups until recently now. But you think this is his time? You know, the stars are kind of aligned for Arteta to kind of, you know, plant his flag and then be the one to sort of maybe have the legacy domestically, at least, that to match what Pep has done previously with City.
I mean, if you look at our last 6 results, they've not beaten us, you know.
Yeah,
and that will play in Guardiola's mind. You know, has Arteta started to get his number, and so he's going to be desperate. And I think sometimes people can try too hard, and you can use that against them. You know, I felt like last season he wanted to come and make a statement, and we battered them 5-1 because that's what happens when teams come at us and don't show us respect. That's what happened to Bayern Munich. You know, that's what happened when we went to Atletico. That's what happened when we went to Inter. We've beaten big teams this year.
Yeah.
And I feel like the potential is there for either result. You know, City can easily win this game, but we can easily win this game. And I think the fundamental difference between now on the points that James and Neil has made, the little bro-in and all the rest of it, I completely see it. But for the first time going into a fixture at the moment, I think the fear is there on both sides. You know, and if I'm being real on that one, I felt like going into previous matches that City have slowly started to respect us, but they expect to win the game. Now the doubt is there in their mind. They want to win the game, but they don't expect to win the game. There's a difference there. No matter what they would say in the press, they do not think that this game is a foregone conclusion. Far from it. They know they're going to have to be somewhere near their best or past their best to get this victory on Sunday. And that's the truth of it. That's where we've got to. And they're going to be having this doubt. It's a bit like, you know, I'm going to go in the ring with Mike Tyson and I can be giving it all of this lot, but I don't know how I'm going to react until I get a right hook on the chin and I'm going to be on my feet. And I think this is a little bit of like that from the City. You know, when they were defending with the kit man, the tea lady, and all 11 men behind the ball at the Emirates earlier in the season trying to defend their 1-0, I felt like the landscape changed. I felt like they acknowledged that they're equals. Do you know what I mean? Had they carried on playing football, total different sort of scenario. They were backing up what they were trying to say to us last year. How can you be defending a 2-1 like that? And we were down to 10 men. This time, they had all men on the pitch and they were kind of like, and they dropped back in a way that they never had before. And I think that psychologically, that was a nod to Arsenal. And I don't think our boys are going to be expecting defeat. We're not going in like that. And it's whoever manages their nerves on the day. That's what it comes down to. But you can bet anything that City are feeling it. They are feeling it.
Oh yeah.
And they are worried about us and they fear us. And it's now time for Arsenal to, it's like when we go to the Etihad in next month, go and do it. I don't want to I would rather get the title by getting a result at the Etihad than dropping points at losing at the Etihad and still getting the title, because you've gone there, you've claimed it, you've shown that you're the main man. It's time for this Arsenal team to show that they are the main men. Put all of the narratives to bed about bottlers and, everything else. All of the noise. If I was Arteta this week, I would be, this is what they're saying about you. This is what they're saying about you. Go out there and do it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it definitely feels like it is the time for us to change that narrative and get it over the line. And I think with all this talk and everything that's been done, like you said, in narratives in the media, and obviously the stuff that the Man City players have said, the subliminal shots that they fired our way. It's a chance now for us to properly hurt them, and lift something up in front of them, lift a trophy up in front of them, whilst they're there watching, and then slink off hopefully. But yeah, let's jump into the chat quickly. Brady saying this is more entertaining than the banter on TNT. Thank you very much. And Brady say, James, you're right, but only Alex defeated the wealthy. He wasn't scared of those clubs. Yeah, true. So I say Spurs currently 2-1 up. Yeah, I do think they'll end up winning tonight, but oh well. Brady say, don't want us to fear City on Sunday. Yeah, that's my only concern. City very beatable. Yeah, if you saw the game yesterday, little bits and pieces that I saw from them yesterday, they're just so open. And we will get chances against them. Brady say, a number of fans never wanted the League Cup over the years. I will take any silverware. So glad that bigger fan channels who dismissed it are embracing it. That's what it's all about. A lot of those fan channels will be there at Wembley and will have got their got their tickets from whoever, even though they've, like you said, trashed it at the start of the season. Oh, we don't want that. We don't want the League Cup. We're just focusing on the Champions League and the league, and they'll be there on Sunday. Doing whatever they do, and doing on their Instas or whatever, showing that they're in probably Club Wembley or something like that. Having all the hospitality. That's how it is, isn't it? Max in the chat, how you doing, Mac? Said defensively we're better and have the belief that we are better going forward. However, it will be a difficult game to watch. Don't be surprised if it's a draw at full time and it goes to penalties. Yeah, thanks for that, Mac. Didn't really want to talk about penalties and what have you, but yeah, I think finals are like North London derbies. They're not to be enjoyed. They're to be endured. And then if you win, then you can enjoy it, because then you can go back and watch it and watch the highlights and everything like that. But if you, I think the only time that I've watched the final with Arsenal in it and actually relaxed was when we beat Villa 4-0. And I think even then I didn't relax until we scored the fourth goal. I think we were 3-0 up. I still was like, oh Christ, someone's going to score here, or Bengal's going to score here, or something like that. But yeah, let's go on to the couple of the matchups. Just a couple of things that I've put together. Oops, not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one either. This one, the matchup. A couple I've put in there. Obviously, they don't have to be the ones that you maybe agree with, but just a conversation. So obviously, Doku up against Jurriën Timber. Would have been Jurriën Timber. It's probably most likely to be Ben White. So obviously, his kind of chaos in terms of controlling that. Can Timber and White handle that 1v1? Eze operating in the pockets where Rodri is, obviously he seems to be on fire at the moment. Eze, springtime Eze, that people are saying. He looks like he's got the bit between his teeth. We know that he ghosted into that sort of position when he scored the winner against them last season in the cup, but he was sort of coming off the left-hand side, wasn't he? So is that the key matchup? And also Gabriel against his old mate Erling Haaland, and obviously the physical duel there, and obviously what he'll do at set pieces as well. Both ends. What are your thoughts on those, Neil? I mean, is there anyone there in particular that you think that is going to be the key to being in charge of, or do you think there's another matchup that you think is going to be the key to keep who to keep quiet on their side, or who will win it for us on the other side?
I think firstly, I was just thinking about, before you brought this up, about fear factors. And I can't see any player in our squad that is going to fear this side. None of them. If you look at the hunger they've shown all season and the determination and grit, I can't see anyone having any fear. In fact, they probably can't wait. They probably want to play the game tomorrow. Yeah. They want it to come that fast. They probably can't wait to get into this game, get their teeth into this game, and get their teeth into the Man City players, and then just chew them up. For me, the biggest one, I'll go for the easiest one because I'm rubbish at all this scientific, technical, tactical stuff. But I think the easiest one is Gabriel is going to absolutely destroy Haaland. I can't wait. I think he's going to get the better of him. I think recently when we've been playing City, we have restricted Haaland in some games to actually having no shots at all, and maybe having just a handful of passes in the whole game or touches in the whole game. And I think he's going to be so determined. The way we saw Gyökeres being so up for the game against Leverkusen, because he's desperate to play Sporting. The way he actually looked angry to me. Yeah. And I've got a feeling, because we've been undone by City in terms of silverware for so many years now, I think these players are going to be so up for this game. There's going to be no fear factor. And that one matchup, I think Gabriel's got that all over. He's going to just pocket him like nothing. It's going to be easy. So that probably is a key one, because if we keep Haaland out the equation, I know they've got scorers all over the pitch like pretty much we have, but I think that's a key one. But, Rodri is a fantastic player, but I think where Eze has recently come to form, and especially after that goal he scored, his confidence levels are going to be sky high. I'm pretty sure he's going to play. I can't believe that after what he's done in the last 2 or 3 games, he's not going to feature. So I think there's that. And the Ben White Timber one, I think if Timber was fit, it's all day along Timber. But I like Benny White. I don't think he's incapable. I actually think he's a good footballer. And at times there's things that he can do which Timber doesn't do. I know Timber probably overall has been a magnificent player this season, but I think generally Benny White is not incapable, but Doku at the same time is a fantastic player, and he's a very dangerous player. And I know Ben White has struggled against the more kind of flair players in the past. So that one may be a little bit of a weak link if it is Ben White, but you know what? I'm going to give Ben White my positive vibes, and I think, you know what? You can take him some if you're playing. But that would be my weak link. I think Rodri, Eze, is going to be a very 50-50 with them, but Haaland, Gabriel, it's Gabriel all day.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think what we kind of hope with Ben White is that he causes Doku issues going the other way, and obviously with kind of what he did the other night against obviously against Bayer Leverkusen, he looked like he was back to his old self, playing some nice little balls through to Saka and the overlap as well. What's your thoughts, James? Do you think it's obviously I haven't included Saka because obviously he's been way off it, and obviously he'd be up against probably 8 Nori, right, on that side. What's your thoughts on just is there a matchup? It doesn't have to be any of those, but is there a particular one that you think is going to be the key? Will it be Semenyo on the other side? If he turns up, obviously he's struggled. I think he has scored, but he didn't play the other night. I don't think he started the other night against Madrid. But any thoughts there, James?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question because for me, and not that I've completely rehearsed and watched a lot of Man City this season, but the one that really I look at and think, next to Doku's probably been one of their better players is Shirky. So I think if he was to play, ideally, for me, I wouldn't fancy his chances if it was Hincapié, because I think Hincapié is a better 1v1 defender, like you've put there about Timber, if he was to play against Doku. So for me, I want the best defenders on. But I know you're going to go line up it a bit later on. But I want the strongest and the best possible defenders that we can have on the day, which again would not shock me if Arteta did go rogue and went for Mosquera, in the fact that he probably is a better defender overall than Ben White on the right back position. Would I like that? No, but I could see that Arteta might want to do that. I hope he doesn't. But other than that, I don't know who they'll play at centre back because they won't play Gahey, will they? Because he's the cup tie rules come in there. So I don't know who the two centre-back partners will be, but I do agree with Neil in that I hope Gyökeres is the one that's backed. I know a lot of people love Kai Havertz. We all love Kai Havertz here. But I think Gyökeres needs to play in this game, wants to play in this game. And if going by his substitution yesterday and how angry, I brought it up when I was podcasting last night with Highbury Squad. It was if he looked at the sign and went, "That's saying 14 on it." He went, "Well, me." It's like, "You're picking me." It was like he was genuinely livid, which I love seeing. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be angry every time he subbed, because there's been a few times where he's come off, bless him, and it ain't been his best of nights, and he sort of goes off with his head looking down on the ground and a bit in a whimper. And I'm like, don't be like that, mate. You're a good player. I've backed you. Everyone here has backed you. We all love you. And he was bought with the pressure of he is the man that is going to drag Arsenal to trophies. It literally was, everyone was saying, as soon as they sign a striker, they're going to win everything. That's what everybody was saying. It's not as easy as that. Look what Liverpool have done. Liverpool spent nearly £500 million worth of strikers and midfielders, and they're way off the pace in the league. I know they're 3-0 or 4-0 up against Galatasaray in the Champions League, which was always going to happen. Doesn't shock me at all. But yeah, so I want Gyökeres out there, and I'd love him to run these centre-backs ragged, because, Mike, I've got tired this year of trying to defend him as a footballer, not just as a goal scorer. I've tried to tell people this man is a very, very good footballer on top of all the goals that he is scoring, but nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. We're lambasted all the time about us having agendas. The agenda against Gyökeres from some of our own fans is disgusting. The way people are going, "Oh, your boy did really well." Our boy, he plays for our club, the same club you support. Our striker, not my striker, our striker. Nothing to do with me. He's got no personal Would I love a personal relationship with Gyökeres? God, yeah, I'll hang out with Gyökeres as much as I can if it's on the table. And some of the people that are high up, like you spoke about, that will all be at Wembley going giddy when they've diminished this trophy for years upon years, are the same people that have said this guy's heavy, this guy's clunky, and they've got the second most reputable podcast in the game. They're the ones that are invited to all the dues. They get all the tickets, and they're the ones that are slagging him off the most. And even the official club commentator, who's got his little channel, and he's counting his little Bitcoin in his Patreon, he's one of the biggest to slag him off as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. He's one of our own players. It's disgusting.
Yeah. It's out of order. It's out of order. But let's hope he can silence a few more people on Sunday. Any thoughts yourself, Nick, in terms of the matchup? Is there anything there that you've spotted on, or you're interested or to see how it kind of plays out?
See, I would take. I agree with what James was saying. My only thing that I will say, because I'm very objective, James, and there are times when Gyökeres' distribution and strength hasn't been what is needed in each performance. And it's like, come on, man, get up, because he can be theatrical how he goes down, and he may have genuinely been fouled. It's just like more strength, and he needs to find that play with the first ball. And you know what Gyökeres you're going to get within the first couple of minutes of what he's playing. You're going to see, because if he's laying off that ball and he's finding people, that's it. And you've got to remember, this isn't the game that is the system and the game that he plays, but this is what he's doing for us. He's doing a different role compared to what he did at Sporting. And Sporting, you are going to find out how pissed he is at you when he plays you next for messing around in the summer. You're going to get yours as well. But with this match, it is all about service to Gyökeres. And I'm really pleased with what I've seen with Eze. Last time Eze was at Wembley, it was against City. He enjoyed himself that day. I think he's going to enjoy himself this day. I think he's going to be bubbling off of that fantastic goal that he's scored. Yeah. So I think Eze is obviously going to be really important in this match. What I would say is I don't think Erling Haaland is going to play himself up against Gabby. Gabby's our best defender in the air. He isn't going up against him. He's going to put himself up against Saliba. Yeah. And he will play up against Saliba. He won't play up against Gabby. And what we're going to have Doku on that right-hand side as well. And so whoever plays there, this is going to be a really big game for if Saka's playing the right wing and Zubi. because they've got to screen and help the right back and the right central defender out. And that means they've got to get back. What Declan does on the left, they've got to do on the right. They've got to really be in there and reading the game and sniffing out the danger, because sometimes I feel like off our right wing, players can run off and get overloads because they're not being tracked. So that's one of the things that we've got to start doing. That right winger has got to come back and he's got to help the man out. I just want to see us be confident in our play. What we've been doing, I've enjoyed the last couple of games where we're taking shots from the edge of the box, because I don't think City are going to low block us at all. But that is one of the things that helps in a low block, because they've got to come out to you, which creates a bit more space. So I feel Rice is going to have a big game. I think Zubi is also going to have to match him. And I think that's going to be a real concern for Guardiola, because he's going to have Rodri would just get overloaded. So the composition of the midfield has to kind of change to match our physicality and our engine, because one man doesn't do it. So we're going to get a slightly different City. So Pep is going to do something. He's going to try something in this final. And it's about whether we can work that out before we get punished by it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, because I think they said, just following up on some City fans and what they've been saying about their midfield, with it being Bernardo Silva and Rodri, and they're not impressed with it because they just haven't got the legs anymore, and they get easily overrun like they did in Madrid, last week. So you kind of think, with the power of Rice, and obviously with Eze sort of going into pockets as well, you're just hopeful that we've got too much for him, on Sundays. But let's go to the chat. Look at that. Yeah, obviously Matt has talked about mentioning penalties again. So. And Nick saying, agree with James. We do it organically, like Liverpool, even United. Financial dopers like Cheatsy and Cheaty deserve the score immediately. Yeah, but you were seeing it. You're hardly getting a couple of people.
Could you imagine if that was us? Could you imagine the we would hear about it for the next 5 years front page. If that was us, that was called cheating like that. Either City or Chelsea, my God, nothing. Tumbleweed. So
Nick, how long ago was Henry Norris?
Yeah.
And how often do you see it every day?
Yeah, picked up.
And how long ago was that? That's all they ever do. Oh, you paid to not get relegated. You paid to stay.
Yeah. And George Graham gets brought up and all of that sort of stuff. All of this is going on, and it's like you've got nothing. Got nothing to say? No. Yeah.
Ashley Goodens, thanks for your comment. Will the fans be a key factor in Arsenal win? Yes, I think the fact is that we'll probably we'll turn up, which is one thing. Not sure how many will turn up at the City end, so they might have to bust a few in. Maybe give them some incentives to try and get in and fill up that other end of the stadium, because it will look pretty bad for them, won't it? And Max saying, we don't fear them and we are hungry. Great comparison, but Victor is desperate to keep his record of scoring in cup finals. Yes. Also, he will be a huge miss. Semenyo is very dangerous as well. Yes,
he
very
is.
dangerous player. And Brendan saying, Yorko's top drawer, the disrespect was terrible. Yeah. But it will continue on Saturday. So before we go into formations, just a couple of things, just in terms of the keys to the game, Nick. In terms of, you kind of went through it and you kind of thought, what were the two kind of positive things and kind of two negatives we kind of got kind of lot of traps we shouldn't fall into. So what's your thoughts on these points?
Yeah, sure. So I think recent history that the last 6 results have not gone City's way, and I mean by the law of averages that means there's one coming to against us, but that's going to sit there in their heads. How we've got the draws, how we've got the wins, the 5-1, the fact that we pushed them back and we've done what we did to them at the Emirates earlier in this season. I just feel like it puts them into a place where they've got to prove themselves too much, and that pressure and everything else. And I just think the mental temperature of what goes on in this final, the best one who copes will win. And I just feel like we're in their heads. I really do. I just feel like what we've been doing over the last 3 years, we've dragged ourselves up from being the whipping boys to now starting to believe in ourselves. And now we believe in ourselves more than we doubt ourselves. And it is now, City are the ones that are having to deal with that fear. City are the ones that are having to deal with that doubt. And I think that's a new challenge for them. I don't know what you boys think. Do you think recent history helps us, or do you think it hinders?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and I think as well the big thing there is that there's a buffer with us in the league of 9 points. They've just gone out the Champions League.
Yeah,
they've got Liverpool, haven't they, in the FA Cup, I believe.
Yeah,
or is it? Or was it? Yeah. So basically, this one looks like this is a final, and this is one that you can win, and you've got it.
Yeah.
It looks like the best out of those like couple of games that he's got there and that he's had there. You know, he's not gonna. For me, he's not staying at the end of the season anyway. He's gone. You can tell the way he's losing his absolute head and everything. And he was going. You know, last night it was Madrid at 8 o'clock, and then Nebworth with Liam and I don't know what he was wearing. He looked like he was trying to get into it. You know, he looked like he was. I put my Oasis Main Road VHS on, and Guardiola was doing a Supersonic and all of that. But he's had a head loss, and I think this trophy will be, a comfort to him regardless, because again, it's one up on there. But yeah, no, definitely, I think, like you said earlier, Nick, we are definitely in their heads, and they are concerned. They're not expressing it, but they definitely are concerned.
And what I meant by over trying too much, when a manager does a tinker too far because they're trying to be clever or they're trying to. I just see something. What I was saying about Guardiola, I can see something like that happening. I can just see.
He does it loads. Chelsea, when they played him in the Champions League final, he completely picked the wrong team and got done. That Real Madrid first leg, he completely got done. Last night, his substitutions last night were mental. I know we were watching the Arsenal game, but catching it up later on, I'm like, what's possessed you to think that was the right idea?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, he's definitely. It's a good time to play him. Definitely,
I agree. I agree. And so then, a defense for the ages. I feel this is our strongest attribute. We've got Raya between the sticks. We've got Calafiori and Hincapié pick. It doesn't matter. You've got Gabby. You've got Saliba. You've got Timber and the ever capable Ben White. And then you've got Declan and Zubi in front of them. And we are blessed. After the things that we have been through in the last 10, 15 years in defence, we are blessed. And I think that this is such a foundation, such a strength with confidence, physicality. I think this causes City a major problem because it's not an attack they're going up, a defence they're going up that fears them. We enjoy defending. We enjoy doing the nitty gritty, and that's a different component altogether for City. So when I was trying to pull out something that is positive, that for me is the fact that the boys that are going to have to do their job well, the 7 that I've just mentioned, they're going to enjoy it. They're looking forward to it, And so on the flip side, the things that I was saying that was going to be the potential negative is this fatigue versus mentality in the head and keeping it going. I'm a little bit worried because sometimes when you try to win everything, there's a reason why it's never been done before. And what we've done so far is such a Herculean effort that we have got to the final of the Carabao Cup and we're in 2 quarterfinals. If we manage to get to 2 semi-finals, I was thinking about City, but they've got to make up the Palace game. So where we've got 2 extra games in the quarterfinal to play, they've at least got an extra game that they've got to catch up with Palace. So far, that won't catch up. That won't hurt us any. But the fatigue and keeping it going, this is all down to now Arteta and the management of the squad. And one of the key fundamentals that I worry about is that rotation, giving Declan, who's probably the most important at the moment, enough downtime to keep him fresh. And that's where I'm looking at Norgard and Miles with that ability to do the left 8 and the 6 and thinking you really need to start thinking about rotating this guy and how you're using him, because when you look at our last 4 games of the season, they are all very winnable. But if you are tired, they are complete banana skins and you don't know which way they're going to go because you can dig down and not be able to find the answer. So that's my biggest worry is that how we keep the boys fresh, because at the end of the day, I would like to think that the squad are extremely confident, focused, and determined not to be the bridesmaid this year. That they can drag them. It's tired. What tired? Rocky IV, no pain, no pain. And going out for another round of punishment. And then the final one, the lack of chemistry in attack, is the personnel clicking. I've seen it a little bit with Gyökeres, Eze, and Saka. They're starting to find little bits. I'm just hoping they find it. We've potentially got 15, 16 games of the season left, which is crazy since there's only 2 months of the season. And how we click, or they find themselves with maybe Havertz sprinkled in and everything else, I think that chemistry and that belief in each other is going to be key to anything that we're going to possibly achieve from this moment forward.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, the person that we kind of mentioned, briefly, has been the captain. The captain who was in place, and obviously without Odegaard not being around, Saka, Neil. We've obviously mentioned in our chats and everything. There just seems to be something wrong with him. Is it just the slow recovery from his injury? He seems like he's trying too hard. There's stories about when Dembele did his hamstring really, really badly, and he's come out since and said basically the first year back, when he was back from his injury, it was just like a long, it wasn't a waste, but he basically can just throw that season in the bin because he just had to build everything back up again. So you didn't see, and obviously look at the result. He's a Ballon d'Or winner. He's scoring goals, still picking up injuries. But, you can see he got over it. So I think the creativity, not to put it on one player, but why not? Because we have put it on his shoulders for the last couple of seasons. I think if he flicks the switch on Sunday, I think that pretty much that kind of will get us the win. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, just before we go into the formations and lineup?
Before I talk about Saka, I just want to say something that James was talking about earlier about certain fans of our club, and they're saying one thing and then they expect that they'll all be part of celebrations. It's very similar to when all those nasty people were absolutely horrific and disgusting towards Wenger, and then yet they were happy to take their picture with him when they got a chance to. They were happy to be at his last game of the season at the Emirates and cheer him on. I don't like those false fans, and as far as I'm concerned, I would never ever want to meet any one of those idiots. So it was just boiling me what James was saying earlier, and he's completely right. I don't like that hypocrisy. Get out of our club and go and support Spurs. Right. As far as Saka's concerned, I'm not going to bite the bullet. I'm going to say it how it is. Cash in the summer, possibly. But right, what I mean to say is, I think the fact that you mentioned the injury, let's hope it is that, because Saka has. Let's not kid ourselves. He's carried our club for many years. That boy single-handedly has carried our club. He initially started it with Emil Smith-Rowe, and I guess a little bit of Tierney and Martinelli when Emery was in charge. And he was a young kid, so much on him. He was kind of giving our team credibility when everyone else was abject. And he carried us for years and years and years. He's suffered this injury. He hasn't been the same this season, not by a long shot. On the chat, you guys know, I will say X, Y, and Z about him, because I can only look at a player at that moment in time. It doesn't matter what the name of the back of the shirt is. It doesn't matter what you've already accomplished. I'm looking at you right now, and right now, I'm afraid you're not pulling your weight. And but he's earning money that only people can dream of, and earning that in a week, let alone a year. And I'm not suggesting that is the reason why he's like fallen off the cliff, but you've got that incentive because you are the talisman, you are the highest paid player of the club, and on top of that, where Odegaard has been injured, you are carrying a very prestigious armband wearing it around your arm. It's called captain, and I'm sorry, I have not seen a captain's performance from him at all. pretty much all season when he's been captain. You should be going on that pitch and showing everyone that you're captain. The other thing I've noticed is his attitude doesn't seem right. He used to be almost like the heart and the life of the party almost, especially in wins. You know, it was all about Saka. He would more or less, I'd say 70%, 80% of the time be on the interviews afterwards. He was bubbly. He was so energetic and energized by it. Don't see him much anymore. Neil,
he's not scoring or assisting. So that they don't want to interview him. You've not done, like you said, if you're not doing anything in the game, they're not going to interview you. Even if you've got the armband on, they want to talk to the player because then they can go through the goal or they can go through. I'm like, when you're abject, which he has been. And sorry, Mike, if you've got Saka fanboys on your channel as well that want to come for me and kill me after the show, like everywhere else I go on, you know, I never had death threats in nearly 16, 17 years of doing Arsenal podcasts. Started to get them now because I've gone for Bukayo Saka. It's unbelievable. You say one thing about someone being a bad footballer and they come for you like mad. But no, you are right, Neil. But I'm like, unless you're doing something, they're not going to want to interview you, which is probably annoying him.
I think, John, I know, James, you're right. You're spot on. But I think as a captain, there should be some kind of conversation if you're captain of the club. I'm just old school, maybe. I don't know. But putting that aside,
I agree with you. I agree.
No, spot on.
But putting that aside, even that aside, it's just his body language. His body language isn't right. Nothing's right. I don't feel he gets on with Gyökeres at all.
No.
I know his name's Gyökeres. Please don't have a go at me. But I call him Gyökeres. All right. He doesn't get on with him. I think he feared, because he has been carrying the club, he has been the main man, that when this guy turns up, he's not going to be the main man anymore, because he probably thought, God, this guy might be start smashing them in every game. And I don't think they get on. There was that one incident where Gyökeres scored and Saka went to try and embrace him and he kind of turned his body away. Don't touch me. And then the other day, which I loved, by the way, sorry, Saka, but I loved it because you've been guilty of it yourself. Gyökeres did not pass to him. He went on it on his own, and he deserved that. He deserved that. I think Gyökeres deserved to have a go on his own and not do it, because so many times Gyökeres has been like, "I'm here. You haven't passed." What is going on there? We're supposed to be a club that is going for, and this is the biggest thing for me with Saka.
Club above ego.
He could be, as a young gooner who's come through the ranks, come through the academy, and I think his whole family is are gooners. We are on the brink of potential history here. Why are you not involved, son? Why are you not involved? And okay, your injury could be playing a part of it, and I don't. And you know, forgive me if that's the case. I take a lot of this back, but still, that doesn't mean your attitude has to be any different. An injury does not dictate your attitude. Yes, it can enhance your good feeling because I played a great game and you could be on a buzz. But you're still part of a group. What about all those players that are not even getting a chance? Miles Lewis-Skelly has not been given much of a chance yet. When Doberman scored, he was all over him. He was so happy for him. But he's not playing. To Saka, I'm sorry, I don't think his attitude is right at the moment. No. And I'll be honest with you, you're saying, you know, James, you said, if he was on form and, you know, the game would be in our favour, I'd rather see Madueke all day long. All day long. For me, he has been the most enterprising threat, probably next to Dalman now, because every time Doberman's come on, he's done something magical. But Madueke and Doberman have been our two, for me, our best attacking threats in the season. Yes, Madueke might not have the end product that everyone wants, but he does scare defences. He can run at them, he can scare them, he can make them feel uncomfortable, and he can stretch the defences. And Saka has not been doing that. And whether it's because he's missing the Odegaard-White trio link-up, but the point is Timber is also being a very good player. Only recently he's tiring, but he's been a very good player, and he can link up with you. You've got a relationship there with a very good player, arguably one of the players of the season. But he's still not doing it. So I'm sorry. I'm not suggesting that. I mean, I know I said cash in them in the summer, but I think if this carries on next season, then I think that might be a viable thing. Seriously. He's a luxury player. We can't afford to carry luxury players. We're going for 4 blooming competitions here. No time for luxury. We have to have everyone on the ball. Play your best players to their strengths. Form players to their strengths. Not carrying luxury players. You know, I'm sorry. So that's how I feel about it. What was the question? Sorry about that.
no, Neil, you make a great point, because out of all of them that are in the group, and don't get me wrong, we all want all of them to have, but he's the one guy that you would want to win something from, like what you said. We were absolutely, Mike, I remember we all used to do podcasts getting up early in the morning because of Jack and his American time and what have you, and the time difference. And I'm like, Jack, I hate these players.
Yeah,
I honestly, I was like, I absolutely hate the majority of. I hate watching us. I hate how they all are. But now there is a group in there, and there's none of them that I dislike. I'm like, you've all got redeemable qualities. You're all very good at football. You're all hilarious when you banter everybody else. Like, social media presence-wise, you're like the fans. You're great at bantering everybody. So you want to, but he's one where I'm like, I would love for you to go out there and win us the final, Saka.
Yeah.
Because you were a blinding light. You know, I know people say you can't polish a turd, but you can put glitter on it and make it nice. He was the glitter on the turd that was Arsenal at that time. He was. He was. That's the best way I can surmise it.
No. But you're spot on. But what defining moments? Max Dowman has come on for a substitute appearance, and threw a beautiful ball that was dangerous, that fooled the England #1 into the box, and then a sublime technical goal, which I said to my son that our other 5 attackers would probably mess that up. The two touches he took with his weak foot was sublime. He's already come on and had a season-defining moment where he has delivered 3 points for the club, but really dragged the team to a moment, right? And had an impact. Give me someone else in the attack. And then you're saying they're senior players. And if you think back, we've had even from Giroud to Lacazette, who are the lesser two, but then you're talking Van Persie, Uber, Wrighty, Henry, Bergkamp, just those sort of attacker, Perez, Lundberg, you name whoever. There were players that we could regularly turn around and say, thank God they're playing today, because they're going to come up with something. They're going to find a way, or they're going to do something.
Yeah.
Who in the attack's doing that for us? And then you're right. We've now gave one of them the biggest contract at the club. He's wearing the captain's armband, and both people that wear the captain's armband haven't been putting in captain's performances. You say about coming back from injury, but he came back from injury last January. He scored 2 goals upon return, and then he suffered on the back end of last year. And he really suffered. And I felt like we rashed him back a little bit too much. And I think what habit he got into last year on the back end of that season to manage his way through games, he hasn't snapped out of. I feel like he's playing within himself. He looks like he's lost a yard of pace, and he's now got to look at himself hard. And I said it in a previous stream, he's got to go from star boy to star man.
Yeah.
And now he's got to start delivering. And what made him special, we can't just reward special for the last few seasons. That is when we turn around and say, thank you very much. You've been a legend, right? And we celebrate that at the end of your career or when you've moved on. But it's now footballers have got to do it every season after season after season after season.
Yeah.
And when they do dip, for whatever reason, we're there and all the rest of it. But we're now talking over a year now. We're talking about 14 months since we've seen a player. Look, he's not in the world-class bracket at the moment. No. We were discussing Saka as a world-class player. And it was like, come on, second to him is only Salah.
Yeah. He had spells, didn't he? He had spells where he was like operating at that level, but consistently, if you look at the likes of Yamal and Elise, he's nowhere near those two.
No.
But you're right, all three of you. I think this is the time he needs. The worry is that he needs to step up on Sunday, because he will start obviously, and he'll lead everyone out. Does he try and win the game by himself? Is he got the cape on because he thinks, okay, this is a chance for me to win a final? Am I going to play for the team? Am I going to play people in when there's an opportunity? Or is he going to overthink it and play the occasion, and not the team, as you've mentioned a few times in the past, James? But
spot on. Do you remember Iron Robin in that final against Chelsea? because he was their ex-player. He wanted to. There were so
Yeah.
many. I remember like 9 times where there was the pass across the box, but Ian Robin was like, "No, I want to be the guy that sings Chelsea. I want to dunk on shit." And it was just like, "You greedy so and so." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, you're spot on there, Mike, because that will come into the fact of do you want to do this as a team or do you want to do it as an individual?" And I don't think Saka's that selfish. I know he's not performing great at the moment and what have you, but I don't think he would sacrifice it for everybody else for his own personal gain. I don't believe he's got that in him. I really don't. I don't think he's that guy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Bukayo Saka we get on Sunday. And let's finish with having a look at this, James. With the lineup, so this is the lineups of the last 2 teams. So we've got Man City, the way they went out against Madrid, and then we've got us as we lined up against Leverkusen yesterday. What's your obviously the first question is going to be some people have messaged me and said, "Oh, we've got to play Raya on Sunday." What's your thoughts on that, James? And what would your lineup be on Sunday?
So I believe both managers are going to flip both them goalkeepers. I know that they're desperate and what have you, but I think he is going to put Trafford in goal, and I believe we're going to keep Kepa in goal. And you know what? For me, he's played all the way throughout it. He saved a penalty. I know he only saved one, but he did save a penalty in the end to get us to the final. So for me, he deserves to be in there. So yeah, I pretty much think that what you've got there will be that I don't see anything else change. I know Martinelli's been better in cup competitions, and they might go, do you know what, Martinelli's pace against that Nunes and Kushyanov or whatever, that might be a good tool. I think, like the game that we played against them in the league at home, save that for later on. Save that for when they have had a bit of a running time, ragged by a Trossard and a Gyökeres and what have you. And it's the same for Madueke. If you remember, before Madueke got injured in that league game that we had against them at home, he was absolutely destroying them. So save him. He probably won't start. I know Neil wants him to start. I know quite a few people actually want him to start, but keep him, in the locker and bring him on when we need to as well. But for me, everything that you've done there, Mike, is spot on, because I think he is going to back Kepa here. I think it'd be very harsh to boot Kepa out now.
Yeah, some people have said Neil, that because it's likely that Kepa's going to leave in the summer, you might. What's the point in playing him and to be a bit ruthless? Are you the same? Do you think he should play? He should start, because obviously what he's done. I don't think Arteta will be that cold and that ruthless to do it. I mean, even though David Raya is playing, he's playing like the best keeper in the world at the moment. But what would you do, Neil? Would you be happy with that? Obviously, I know you would put Madueke out on the right instead of Saka. But what would you think about the keeper situation? Would you stick with Kepa?
Just a bit different, and I think it's not about just being different. I actually would prefer Raya. I think he's been unbelievable lately. This is an important game. If it had been any ordinary League Cup final, and as I said, if we'd won a few things before, you go with Kepa, because he's actually got us here, and that's not fair to change him now. I think my head says Kepa, but my heart says Raya, because I think the saves that he has done recently are extraordinary, and he's in there. He's in the moment. He's in the moment with this squad and these starters experiencing everything. And just to touch on what Nick was saying about fatigue and mentality in terms of tiredness, etc. Declan Rice said something in his interview, made a really good point, that they're playing 3 times a week, but it's keeping them in check. It actually might not be a good thing. I used to believe that this is too much. We've got 4 competitions playing 2 or 3 times, every 2-3 days. How can they do it? How can they sustain it? But although you've got that fatigue, physical fatigue, in terms of your mindset, you're keeping locked in. You're keeping locked in, playing big games all the time. And I think that's where we got the advantage. And Kepa hasn't been part of that so much, whereas Raya has. And I think only from that point of view. But in terms of how it would feel for the guy, it would be complete an injustice because he's the one that's carried us the whole competition. I'm kind of a little bit torn about it, but I think this is such an important game for me personally. I feel this way. I think I'll choose Ray on that. But I think it will be Kepa. And sorry, Saka, Madueke all day long. Other than that, it looks fine.
So you would go Madueke.
Oh, all day long. All day long.
Saka out.
Yeah.
So you would go that way, and you'd have.
Leave Saka in. We'll play an extra player. We'll play with 12. We'll do
That's
what about you? What about you, Nick?
I'm going to do something unpopular, and my reasoning is a poor Saka is better than a couple of others. So I would actually play Saka on the left wing as a conventional left winger.
Okay.
And use his left foot that he's got. He's got a very good weak foot. So if he cuts in, he's got a strong right foot to get a shot off if he needs to. But he's a natural ability there with the left foot to go beyond Nunes and push him back and then whip a ball in with his left foot, because we know how good his left foot is because he does the corners. Playing that sort of ball into Gyökeres and the guys in the box could create all sorts of issues just from a tactical point of view, because then you've got our best two wingers on the pitch. I don't feel Madueke out on the left works. I don't see that. Him out on the right, he has the ability to do the same, to get past the outside of Aït-Nouri and then do the cutbacks, hit the byline. I just like the idea of how Saka can attack that team, particularly with them not being confident at the back. I just feel like there's something that we can do there. I feel like the rest of the team right now picks itself. It's just a case of, I've always said on other streams, it's usually you get to a game and you say, is it a Trossard game or is it a Martinelli game? I think this is one where it could be a Saka game. As for giving Kepa between the sticks, if he does it, he does it. I think you've got to go out there and win this game. And so you pick your best team. I don't know, boys, what do you think? Is that completely pie in the sky, seeing Saka on the left? It's apparently something that we were looking at the beginning of the season. So
I would have gone for that as well. But I also feel between Saka, Martinelli and Trossard, I don't know if there's much of a difference. Martinelli has been outstanding in the Champions League games. Trossard has had his moments in the Prem. But I just feel, is there much difference between the three? But the one good point about Saka, which is spot on, Nick, the corner taking. See, Rice and Saka are our best two set pieces takers. In that respect, perfect. So that I don't think that's a bad way of maybe reorganising it.
And you know how vulnerable City are from set pieces. You've seen it the last two games.
And if I could pitch one other thing to you guys of the lineup, if you take Madueke, Eze, and Saka in game, and now rotate them to any given situation, Eze can interchange with Saka on the left for fun and take up the centre. And if Saka wanted to change with Madueke onto the left and right to find new places, so that's what I'm looking at. I just feel like they could, as the mood take them, they can occupy different positions more freely to try and create different pressure points and overloads in different parts of the game. So that would be my pitch. That's what I would try to convince you with.
I kind of can see that, because I think, as you said earlier, wasn't it, James, how Guardiola likes to, spring a surprise. Or I can't remember who it was, yourself or Nick, said, Guardiola, likes to, throw a curveball, like to overthink it. Obviously, with what he did in the Champions League, that final when he didn't play Rodri as DM, you could, you can see him doing something like that. Maybe putting Saka out on the left, and then he has got, he still has his finishers then, which could either be Martinelli or a Trossard, in that, and obviously Havertz. So I could see that. I could see him playing Saka on that side, giving him something to think about, and then I think that left hand side with Hincapié, Rice, and Saka is really, really strong in terms of technical, like security, keeping the ball and everything. and obviously, like you said, it can rotate. They can move around the pitch as well. Those three as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I think with City, they'll play Semenyo instead of Cherky probably, because Pep knows how hard they were. Everyone will have to work against us. I don't know if you saw the Bayer Leverkusen manager yesterday in his interview. I listened to his interview after the game, and he must have said it about 5 times in his interview, where he said Arsenal are so hard to play against. He just kept on saying it, because they know how drilled we are. And then in the presser for Arteta, they talked about Eze and about how he's stepped up and how he's playing and everything, and how he seems to have got the message in terms of doing stuff off, out of possession. And Arteta said, yes, because if you don't do that, you're not gonna, you're basically not going to survive. You're not going to play here. So Pep knows that he has to put in his team people who are going to not sort of, cheat out of possession. And I think Cherky, for all his technical ability, and he's such a dangerous player, I think Semenyo will be much more of a person willing to do all the running and stuff. And obviously
he doesn't have the pace to hurt us, Cherky.
Yeah, he's a beast as well, physically as well, obviously in the duels and everything. So I think it definitely will be Semenyo to start in the final. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting one to see what he does. I'm sure Pep will throw a curveball, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with the goalkeeper situation, because I think he will go with Kepa, because he's not like he's, apart from the Chelsea first leg where he looked a bit shaky, I thought, especially their second goal that they scored from a corner, from set pieces. But to be fair, Raya looks a bit shaky when we played him in the league at set pieces as well. But I think it will be Kepa to start. But whoever starts, let's just get the ball, get behind them, get the win over the line, and and bring that trophy home. We haven't got a great record in the League Cup, so it's time to fix that. Brady was just talking about Gyökeres, talking about Rush. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that plenty of times playing as a striker in my day. Hardly had a touch. Had a couple, scored a goal, happy. Even though I just basically did a lot of cardiovascular work, basically running around for 90 minutes and just scoring 1 goal. Max saying now, we need to learn from Madrid. City struggle with Route 1 football, running at them rattles them. Yes, walking the ball in the net won't work. What we did against Leverkusen, that team magic will work. Yeah, but you're going to probably see the little bit of the U-shaped, horseshoe football, which we love so much. But thanks so much, gents, for a great chat. Sorry, it's a final, so final preview, so we can talk into the night. But just wanting to impart with not so much of a sermon, but just a saying that I found online, what somebody said. So let me just get that up. And don't worry, Neil. You're not in trouble. I'm not gonna come for you or anything like that. Or got your location, and you could be chasing over scrambling over the rooftops like you do, like Jason Bourne. So let's. So basically, just everything this season. Just enjoy it while you can. Someday we'll look back at these times, and how you remember them will be how much you soak in this moment and this season. Don't wallow in negativity and complain about every little thing. Enjoy the good times. Celebrate them with fellow Arsenal fans such as ourselves here, and family and friends. The journey should be as fun as the destination. And even if the anxiety makes that cathartic moment of euphoric release worth it, that's what it's all about as an Arsenal fan. Live in the now. And with all of that, all that's left to say is, come on, you Gunners. Let's bring that trophy home and let's get that green tick off, and then we go for the other 3. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a lovely rest of the week, and come on, the Arsenal.
Newcastle, the central figure again, and he looks to trick.